if your basic programs and packages that you're offering, you're not crushing it with, I wouldn't consider doing this. I think you need to have the foundation of the agency laid out first, because otherwise, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Welcome to Show Me the Nuggets, where each week Joe chats with world-class entrepreneurs to find out the key principles, strategies, and processes that lie behind their outstanding achievements. Now, your host, the no bullshit serial entrepreneur, Joe Troyer.
Lots to unpack in there, a lot of nuggets in there, Chris. So you mentioned your tech stack and the breakthrough there. What was the name of the software again? Eliza?
Eliza, yeah.
How do you spell that? Do you know?
Eliza.
Perfect. So essentially, am I correct in stating it just did a better job organizing all the data and kind of dialing so that you guys were more efficient? Is that the right way to put it?
100%. So what Eliza does is, let's say your agent has 20 accounts. All of those accounts, communications, all of their texts are in just one dashboard for you. So you could, answer client A's prospect right into client B's, right into client C's, and you're not having to switch to different accounts, which took a really long time. They also have FAQs that you can build out, because every client has a different offer, different location, different style of martial arts, different schedule. That's a lot of information to remember. So you can actually build in the answers into Eliza. So it's a copy and paste kind of, process that is happening. So it made the texting much more efficient. And we also, my own fault, were not aware of High Level's power dialer prior to this process. So about 4 months in, we learned about the power dialer. Somebody was like, "You're not using a power dialer?" And I was like, "Nope." So we built out the workflows, and that instantly made it much more efficient for us. So, at the end of the day, I probably should have got a coach that had a call center. That probably would have been the best thing for me to do. And I know that there's call center software out there, but we were really needing to make this work with High Level, because that's what our clients are using.
Sure. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. What's the call to action when you guys are calling out? So I guess let's back it up a step. These leads are coming in from like a Facebook campaign or Google Ads
Facebook ad, Google Ads campaign. Yep.
Okay, to a lead form of some kind, and then you guys are booking an appointment. What's the goal of the appointment? Get somebody
just to get them to come in. All of our clients have different offers. What we see work the best is the free offer, right? How hard is it to book a free appointment? But we do have clients that do not want us booking appointments without them making some form of a financial commitment. So in the martial arts world, usually they'll offer like 4 weeks of martial arts for $49 or 2 weeks for $29. We do not sell over the phone, but what we will do is send them the link for them to purchase, and then we can have them book through that. But the goal is just to get them in the door, because every business owner tells you all you got to do is get them in the door, and then I'll enroll them. And I'm like, really? Like, you sure you have 100% conversion rate? But that's our goal, is just to get them in the door. And typically most of our clients offer a free lesson, free one-on-one, or at least a tour of the facility for them to come in.
Perfect. Yeah. So makes a whole lot of sense how you're doing it and how you guys are getting the wins, I guess. So when a new lead comes in, you mentioned they come through Slack. So that's how you get back to somebody in 5 minutes, right? You're just picking up the phone one time, dialing, and then the follow-up, the 6 more attempts happen with the power dialer inside GHL, right?
Yeah, power dialer and texting. So lots of tags that had to get created based off of what stage are they in. Are they in follow-up 1, follow-up 2, follow-up 3? And again, that's what, took the longest, and also testing it out, because initially I wanted to be able to call that lead twice in the same day, right? If the lead comes in the morning, let me call them in the morning. If they don't pick up, let me call at night. Well, that works when you only have 3, 4, 5 clients. When you have 20 clients and, you've got 80 leads that came in that one day, that would be 160 calls just for the leads that came in that day, not including all of the calls and follow-ups that had to happen for the previous leads that came in. And at the end of the day, the easiest thing for me to do to increase my gross profit margin would be just to raise my rates. However, I understand the industry that I'm in and, what people are really going to be willing to pay.
You guys handle incoming then as well?
No, we do not offer incoming.
No. Gotcha. So when you call somebody and it's a missed call, right? And they call back, that's going to go back to, the studio.
It does.
itself.
Yeah. And there was a lot of education that had to occur on the
bet.
client's part, because the prospect is like, you just called me. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh, our agents called. So
That's awesome. You've mentioned a couple times your gross profit goals. You said, was it 74%? Is that what you said?
yeah, for the gross profit margin. That's a number that Ben McAdam has given us as our financial coach inside of GrowPro. People having to cover a lot of accounts. So my gross profit margin's at 71% right now, but it's not too far off where I'd like it to be.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think that's better than, almost any agency that I know. I think some really profitable agencies, just using kind of the Facebook, the Facebook only as a service, including GHL as follow-up, charging $1,000, $1,500 a month. I've seen, those agencies, do really, really well, really high margins like yours. But yeah, those are great numbers.
Thanks. Worked hard to get there. Math has not always been my favorite subject, and I've worked closely with Ben as well. Ben's really helped us with improving those percentages.
Yeah, that's great. So the podcast show producer, Eduardo, found something about your 6-step closer framework and said we should be asking you about that on the show. Would you mind kind of giving us high level an idea of what that means?
Yeah, for sure. So it's actually a customer journey. So this is something I'm really, really passionate about. I think oftentimes as business owners, we are so stuck in our perspective of what the client is doing. We forget what the client is actually going through. And, if you can train your team on understanding where your prospect or customer is in the journey, what they're feeling, what questions they have, what objectives they have, and what you can do on your end to move them from one stage to the next, it makes it a lot easier. I think we're all so focused on that purchase stage. Let me get a new client. Let me get a new client. You wouldn't need as many new clients if you just kept the ones that you have. So there's basically 6 stages in my customer journey. First one is awareness. Got to get them aware, right? And that has to do with how many lines out in the ocean. Dan Kennedy has a story about this. Basically, if we're going fishing, I got 10 fishing poles, you got 1 fishing pole, I'm catching more fish, right? So awareness is just getting out there. And then what we need to do is we need to get them to consider us. And it's not just, consider are our services good or not. It's compared to the other people that they're checking out. If they're Googling digital marketing agencies, they're not just finding me. So what can we do to get them to consider us? And this is really where Google reviews and case studies and testimonials and the branding and the messaging that you have out is going to help you do that. The next stage, number 3, is purchase, right? We want to get them to commit to our programs. We have a really, really solid sales process. We do a 1-call close. We can do that because of the ticket size. It's much lower. We're not trying to sell a $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 a month program. But we offer a free marketing audit. And it's so funny because marketers are like, you got to change your offer every time. Like, we've had the same offer since I started the company. That's our offer. You hop on, we do a marketing audit of your Facebook page, your ads, your Google business profile, and where you're on the search engine results page. We provide value. We let you know these are the areas that we can help you with. And, it's not a hard push. Then we go into our discovery call. So right there, first 30 minutes is the marketing audit. Last 30 minutes is these are our programs and this is how we can help you. And my sales guy has an 80% close rate. He's a rock star. He had 0 sales experience. He was a beekeeper. What a job prior to coming on. And, yeah, so that's the purchase stage, right? And then where most people drop the ball because they just go and look for another client is the onboarding. How you make your customers feel from the second that credit card goes through, and those first kind of 90 to 100 days are going to make or break the length of the stay that they're with you. So the onboarding process has got to be super sharp. And then you go into retention, right? How can I keep this client? And the best way to keep the client is to deliver on your promises, right? You don't need all this fancy stuff. Are you doing what they paid you to do? And then you could start adding on the other stuff, sending the Sherry's berries at 1 year, sending the anniversary cards and the birthday cards. But guys, you got to deliver on your promise. That's how you retain your clients. And the ultimate goal is to get them to the 6th stage, which is advocacy. I want every single one of my clients to become walking billboards for my company, creating brand ambassadors that help me attract more like-minded clients. And this is where, referral programs come into place. This is where I think going to events, right? I think most people look at events, and conferences as ways to gain clients, and you can absolutely do that. But it's also a great way for you to develop the relationships with the clients that are there as well. So we're really big on setting up booths. We'll go over 12 events this year alone, setting up booths, sponsoring. And if we get a couple clients out of it, great. But the fact that we got to shake hands with 20, 30, 40 of our clients at those events means much more to me. So those are the 6 stages of the customer journey.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, I think most people don't really think through the customer journey whatsoever. So it's refreshing, to see you start from the beginning and take it through the end and be able to articulate that back. Obviously, it really is something that's important to you, and not just something that you talk about. That's really cool. So I wanted to make sure that we really talked about the concierge service. Is there anything else that you think, in terms of 80/20 that you would share with another agency owner if they were wanting to start the concierge service and really getting into that to help their clients?
I would make sure that you're not having shiny object syndrome and that you are in a place to be able to offer this service. If your basic programs and packages that you're offering, you're not crushing it with, I wouldn't consider doing this. I think you need to have the foundation of the agency laid out first, because otherwise, it's going to be very, very difficult. The other thing would be get a mentor. I did go through the Concierge Agency Mastermind with Cris Johnstone. His model is very different. They typically do, they're with real estate industry, and they're doing outbound calls on lists that are given to them. That's a lot different than ding, notification goes off, got to stop what I'm doing and do the follow-up, right? But the Concierge Agent Mastermind and having Cris to lean on and ask questions was, very helpful. So with anything in life, if you want to accomplish something, go find the person that accomplished it and is in the place in life that you want to be, and also has the values that you have. I think that's really important. That doesn't get spoken enough about when finding mentors, right? You want to find somebody whose values are aligned with you. So yeah, make sure that you've got your foundational pieces in place in the agency. Go find a mentor to help you. And for me, I think people have, paralysis by analysis in every industry, and you want everything to be perfect. I am a ready, fire, aim person. I mean, it's written out on the walls in our office. And, when I think when you have that mentality, you're just not just going to sit on your hands waiting for the perfect moment, because there's never a perfect moment. So those are the 3 pieces of advice that I would say.
That's awesome. Perfect. All right. So in wrapping this up, I'm excited to ask you this question, because I feel like I'm always giving you some love on Instagram when you're sharing your books. So instead of asking you to recommend 3 books, which I feel like is like everybody's question at the end of a podcast, right? I always just ask, what's the one book, right, that you feel like is made the biggest impact on how you see the world, how you do business, and why?
Yeah, it was the very first personal development book that I ever read, and it was The Compound Effect. I think that we focus so hard on, Jim Rohn says, work harder on yourself than you do your job. And you can develop all of these amazing skills on your computer and learn all these softwares but if you don't have your personal stuff together, it's going to be very difficult for you to, just for you to get it done. So for the compound effect, it's small, smart choices done consistently over time yields drastic results. I know you're really big into health and prioritizing your health, right? We're always sending fire emojis when we're working out and stuff like that. Yeah. And the compound effect tells you, hey, you go to the gym for 3 months, you're not just going to magically be in shape, right? This is a lifelong practice. And I look at that the same thing, with business. So those small, smart choices every single day, like, are you holding, your meetings with yourself. That's one of the biggest game changers for me. I have a 3-hour time block period every single day. That is a meeting with myself. My notifications get turned off, and it's a deep work. And I just, don't think that enough people understand the power of that, of making those smart habits, doing it consistently over time, and you see drastic results. People look at me like, oh, like overnight, like overnight you blew up your agency. It was like, dude, I was, like mopping mats in a martial arts school, developing the skills to be able to do this, right? So Compound Effect 100% is the book that I would recommend.
Yeah, fantastic book. If you haven't read it, definitely do it. Can't agree more. Fantastic book. Cris, we'll link up to GrowPro Agency in the show notes, and also your Instagram. It seems like that's where you're most active these days. Is there anywhere else you'd like to have linked up?
Yeah, I mean, I know you're not a fan of Facebook, but Facebook as well.
Look, thank you, Cris, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing so much. I think there's a lot that people are going to be able to take away from this episode, and we look forward to watching your journey.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, you saw it here. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to Show Me the Nuggets. If you've been enjoying the podcast and find our content helpful, please visit our Apple Podcast page, hit the subscribe button, and leave us a review. Joe and the whole team have been working hard to bring more value to the show. Your feedback will go a long way in helping us make the show better and reach a wider audience.